Now, tonight the lives of a little girl and her father are ruined. And you can't imagine that it is because a village is punishing them for the jailing of a man who defiled the girl. The rapist was imprisoned for 50 years, and what should have been a cause for celebration is turning out to be a double tragedy for this family. Our Garissa reporter Hamza Yusuf will bring you the details of this heartrending story very shortly. But for now, here's a sneak peek.
Watoto ndio hawa hawana mama, hana makao. Hata sasa kama angekuwa na makao, angeishi ndani ya town. Alafu akipata nyumba ya kuishi. Alafu ile wafanyakazi wanaona wanachunga mbuzi, angeweka kwa hiyo mbuzi yake, akae town, apeleke watoto yake shule. Lakini sasa ile kitu inamfanya akae msituni, ya ajili hana makao. Sasa analala hii miti, ndio anafikiria kama nyumba.
That is a story that's coming your way in the course of this live newscast. Please do look out for it. The hashtag we're using on Twitter is Tears Unseen. So please give us your comments on that once it airs. That's by Hamza Yusuf all the way from Garissa. But let's get to our other top stories of the day now. Now, the government has defended the country's level of borrowing. President Uhuru Kenyatta, who launched a website showcasing his government's achievements in the last 4 years, says the borrowing, which some critics have termed as excessive, is in fact necessary for development. The president also defended the increase in betting taxes, saying, however, the government is willing to review it.
Facing criticism over its track record, the Jubilee administration marked its 4th anniversary by showcasing its achievements through an information portal. From its pet project, the SGR, new connections to the national grid, tarmacking of roads, to issuance of title deeds, the launch of the portal, an attempt to prove that the government has not been sleeping on the job.
We are proud of our record.
But even then, an admission that it has not done well on some of its pledges, including the construction of 5 stadia.
We have not yet built the 5 stadia. But that is just one of the many promises that we have made, which we are willing and ready to admit to the people of Kenya that this to us is work in progress.
The national and county governments have at times not been reading from the same script, with seeming competition over the implementation of projects.
We should be collaborative partners, not the so-called competitors.
The government has been on the sport over what some analysts term as excessive borrowing, but the president says borrowing is necessary.
So to those who say that we are over-borrowing, I tell them the only reason you should be concerned about the level of borrowing is if that borrowing was being used and utilized for consumption or for recurrent expenditure.
Uhuru defended the 50% increase on betting charges, but says it can be reviewed. The launch of the portal, which among other things highlights Jubilee's 11 flagship projects, provided a platform for Uhuru to seek a second chance at State House.
Give us a chance to complete this transformational journey. Be patient.
The portal is a first of its kind system in Kenya, but as the government seeks to separate the politics from the reality on the ground, Jubilee still has much more to check off its to-do list. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
Right, so the launch of that portal coming right at the 4th anniversary of Jubilee administration coming into power. That was on the 9th of April 2013. And that's why tonight we're asking you on our Big Q, has your life improved under the 4 years of Jubilee's leadership? Has your life improved under the 4 years of Jubilee leadership? Please SMS us your comments to the number 22155. Start with a yes or no, followed by a brief comment, your name and where you're watching us from. You can also send us a tweet at KTN News, at Yvonne Okwara. The hashtag you can use on that one is Monday Night News, and I'll be sampling your views during this live newscast. So who will it be for the opposition? Is it Raila Odinga for president and Kalonzo Musyoka as his running mate? Well, that appears to be the most popular pair according to information KTN News has received. And as Chris Thairo reports, supporters of Musalia Mudavadi are having none of it. They maintain that their man must be on the ballot.
The four NASA principals Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula were for the better part of Sunday evening holed up in a closed-door meeting in one of the resorts in Kilifi County, deliberating a report prepared by the coalition's National Coordinating Committee. Details of the recommendations in the report have emerged and are seen by KTN News. All factors favor ODM party leader Raila Odinga as the preferred NASA presidential candidate. First is the popularity ratings of each of the four presidential hopefuls, and going by all the surveys conducted by different pollsters, Raila Odinga is leading, with the latest survey putting Raila Odinga's popularity at 28%, followed by Kalonzo Musyoka at 10%, Musalia Mudavadi at 3%, while Moses Wetangula's popularity stands at 0.8%.
Najua ambayo wanawalipa kuweka mahesabu hiyo. Wewe nenda. Tutawataja. Wengine ni Jubilee, wengine ni sisi kwa sisi.
The person who is going to lead the team has to be a very strong personality who will be able to galvanize the whole country together. Now, among the four people, definitely what has been seen for a long period of time, the Nyanza leadership has been seen to be able to bring everybody into the fold and take them ahead.
Secondly, given the latest figures of the registered voters after the 2 mass voter registration, Raila Odinga still has a head start compared to the 3 other presidential hopefuls. Raila Odinga, who commands Luo Nyanza region, Coast region, and half of Western, is assured of close to 3.5 million votes. And so adding Kalonzo Musyoka as his running mate with 1.5 million votes and Musalia Mudavadi as the chief minister into their fold with 1 million votes, then the team would have more than 6 million votes.
Other factors that are very important and critical are the numbers. The leaders will be the running mates, need to be able to garner the majority. For instance, if we have Nyanza combined with Ukambani, the numbers may be sufficient, but add to Western region, the numbers may be huge because you have Wetangula and Mudavadi together. They may bring the Luya block vote together into the NASA.
However, this proposal has already started causing jitters within Musalia Mudavadi's camp, with delegates affiliated to ANC party holding demonstrations in Kakamega County in support of Musalia Mudavadi Kalonzo Musyoka candidature, arguing that the Raila-Kalonzo lineup has been tested and failed.
Lazima Musalia Mudavadi akuwe ndiye flag bearer. Na kama Musalia Mudavadi hatakuwa flag bearer, sisi kama ANC tuko tayari kwenda na Musalia mpaka kwa debe.
Tumejipanga ya kutosha. Na tukipita wakati hii, hakuna wakati ingine. Tunasupport Raila. Tunasupport baba yake. Wakati hii tunaomba Raila na watu wetu wa Nyanza wawajie Mudavadi hii kiti.
Kama watajifanya wachukue hii line up ya court ya Raila Kalonzo, wataanguka saa 2 asubuhi.
However, Siaya Senator James Orengo, who is a member of the 12-member steering committee, has called on NASA supporters to remain calm on grounds that there is still sufficient time for the 4 principals to decide who will be the opposition's flag bearer.
We don't think we are late, and we think that according to what we had told the public, and I think a lot of times we were saying this will be concluded in the last week of April or towards the end of April.
Individually, they cannot win. Collectively, they can win. So it's up to them to decide whether they want to win or to lose. So any one of them bolts out, they all lose. Not one person loses, but they all lose.
For now, the 4 principals are expected to focus on the party primaries scheduled for this week and into the coming week. The 4 NASA principals have a maximum of 7 days to consult their individual kitchen cabinet before they retreat to Mombasa on the 17th of this month for a final meeting that is believed they will decide who among them will fly the presidential flag. Chris Dairo, KTN News in Nairobi.
16 ODM elected leaders, including Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho, face disciplinary action over a spate of chaos witnessed in different parts of the country during the ongoing campaigns ahead of the party primaries. But as our political reporter Murimi Mwangi now tells us, critics are questioning the ability of the ODM Disciplinary Committee to take any action with the party primaries just 3 days away.
From Migori to Busia County, campaigns ahead of the Orange Party primaries have been a chaotic affair. The latest incident being the attack of ODM's executive director, Oduor Ongwen, by supporters of nominated Senator Elizabeth Ongoro at Orange House. And now, the ODM Disciplinary Committee has summoned 16 leaders, among them Deputy Party Leader Ali Hassan Joho.
Very stern action will be taken, and the committee will not hesitate. Stern action from expulsion, suspension, reprimand, fining, all manner of action that we will deem fit.
Nimekuja hapa kwa furaha because I know very well that after this process, specific action will be taken.
Others targeted for disciplinary action are Siaya Senator James Orengo, Migori Governor Okoth Obado, his Busia counterpart Sospita Ojamong, and legislators Paul Otuoma of Funyula, Suna East Junet Mohammed, Ruaraka's Tom Kajwang, and his arch-political rival Senator Ongoro.
Orange House was full with so many aspirants who were aggrieved, some of them claiming that certificates had been given to their competitors while they were still in the race. I mean, I really have nothing to do with that.
Members of the other gender would freely do anything, and it is blamed. Everybody seems to think that it is the man who is fighting, and many of us will not speak. Many of us don't speak even in our houses when we are attacked. But this is the truth.
But with the ODM list of aspirants already before the IEBC, with the electoral body set to gazette all the names on Wednesday, critics have questioned the ability of the disciplinary team to crack the whip as the ODM nominations commence on Thursday.
From suspension, expulsion to fining, reprimand, all these sanctions. The party has a lot of remedies on this kind of thing.
We expect from the disciplinary committee nothing other than a fair process in determining the questions that have been brought before it.
In the Migori chaos, Joho's bodyguard was shot, while one person died in the Friday Busia chaos after supporters of Ojamong and Otuoma clashed hours to the initial date of the ODM primaries.
Have you made any attempt to seek out that family and see what assistance you can give them?
I've just been hearing also that a death occurred. It's regrettable. Definitely we shall try our best to chip in and assist the family.
When somebody loses life, somebody is maimed, you know, we will not take it kindly.
Migori, Busia, Siaya, Kisumu, Homa Bay, and parts of the coast have already been earmarked as potential hotspots during the ODM primaries, and the disciplinary committee will remain on the spotlight as the nominations approach. Murimi Mwangi, KTN News in Nairobi.
Now, in response to an ongoing debate over his appointment, Chief Justice David Maraga now says the Judicial Service Commission determined the outcome of making the requisite recommendation to the President in line with the Constitution. Maraga says any reports that his was a political appointment are erroneous and misleading to the public. There were reports that the President had appealed to the Kisii community to vote for his Jubilee Party because he had appointed one of their own as Chief Justice. Maraga's statement comes after the first full sitting of the JSC today. All right, that's all we have for you in terms of politics. We want to move to our other story that we've been promising you now. Now, reports of child defilement in Wajir County have been on the rise in the past few years. While some victims are able to overcome the trauma, most of them are haunted by those events for the rest of their life. Tonight, KTN News' Hamza Yusuf brings you the heartbreaking story of 10-year-old Rhoda.
From a distance, she appears to be a child living another ordinary day in Wajir. But for this 10-year-old girl, life has been far from ordinary. When she was 6 years old, she was defiled by a 52-year-old man, a close neighbor. Will conceal her identity and refer her as Rhoda, not her real name. The wounds are still too raw. It's not a story that she's ready to tell. Her older sister lingers around with a protective glare. The girls were out playing that day when the rapists attacked Rhoda, forcing her sister to watch silently and then fleeing. The little girl left unconscious on the ground.
I received the news while grazing my sheep and hurriedly rushed home and found my daughter bleeding furiously. The man who committed the act had already disappeared. We rushed out to hospital for treatment.
Akasema huyu msichana wacha kwanza waangalie. Msichana kuangalia huko sehemu za siri zote imefura, imenuka. Hata tangu huyu mtu alifanyia yeye repi hata kuna mtu alimosha. Sasa babake hakuna mwanamke, hakuna msichana hajui kumosha. Basi sasa ndio sisi tumepeleka hospitali msichana kuangalia namna hii, hata daktari ametoa machozi.
That was 4 years ago. The perpetrator offered to settle the case by masla, the infamous Somali tradition where abusers pay fines to their victims' family members. But Rhoda's father declined the 20 goats and 20 cows offered for his forgiveness. The rapist was jailed for 50 years and Rhoda's family retreated into their own prison.
Sheria iko na nguvu. Utamaduni pia, kwa sababu hii ni jamii bado imeshikilia utamaduni wao. Pia maneno kama maslaha bado yako na nguvu kidogo.
Sasa watu wamegoba tangu siku hiyo. Lakini juzi tulikuwa tumeletewa jaji mzuri ya kuangalia, akisikia tu hiyo mambo, huyo mtu anakaa ndani, ataosia ndani. Huyo mtu amechukuliwa. Unajua Wajir, watu wa Somali wanafundisha mtu, huyo mtu hakuwa anachukua hata rushwa, alikuwa hachukui. Wewe ukiwa umesimama kwa haki, atakutendea kwa hiyo haki yako. Ikiwa wewe mtu akaona kona, anakuweka ndani. Lakini sasa huyo mtu atakukaa hata mwaka moja. Alikaa tu miezi sita hivi ameenda.
This is where they call home, away from the rest of the community. The family faces stigma in a society where victims are shunned even more than the perpetrators. It is dusk. Rhoda's father performs his daily routine. Her mother suffered a mental breakdown from a trauma of the defilement. So dad is all they have now.
I had to sell 45 goats and a camel in order to have my daughter receive treatment. I tried all the means to have her treated, but up to now the expense is too much for me. I believe that one day God will restore her health to how she used to live before.
He lays in a thin canvas on the ground in the forest. This has been Rhoda's bed for the last 4 years. It was Rodha's decision to move to the forest in Mokoror, several kilometers from Wajir town.
What that means then, it means every time she gets a clue to remember, a cue to remember the experience, what we call re-experiencing occurs. She starts feeling anxious and stressed like she's experiencing the event. She has also what we call hyperarousal, that she's constantly not settled.
Hana kitu ya kulalia, watoto ndio hawa hawana mama, hana makao. Hata sasa kama angekuwa na makao, angeishi ndani ya town, alafu akipata nyumba ya kuishi, alafu ile wafanyakazi wanaona wanachunga mbuzi, angeweka kwa hiyo mbuzi yake, akae town, apeleke watoto yake shule. Lakini sasa ile kitu inamfanya akae msituni, ya ajili hana makao. Sasa analala hii miti, ndio anafikiria kama nyumba.
But life is not easy in the forest. They have no house, no food, and few items of clothing. On the good days, the father will bring leftovers from the hotel after a long trek. Other days, he is forced to beg from the market traders. Rodha is yet to receive proper medical care. She has no proper diet and is unable to attend school. With so many cases of a child defilement going unreported in Wajir County, Rodha is a heroic voice for those who have been forced into silence, an act of heroism that she is paying a big price for. Hamza Yusuf, KTN News, in the county of Wajir.